Hello everybody, welcome back to Thoughtful Thursdays. I am driving back from the Asheville area, going back to Raleigh here, and I was listening to a podcast. I'll have to put it in the description below. But anyway, it talked about confidence, separating self-confidence and that fine line between self-confidence and kind of cockiness or this over-reduction of ego. I had previously made a Thoughtful Thursday video about the ego, a fine line between being confident and then being egotistical, right? Even narcissistic, that far side of the spectrum. And then, being that self-confidence. Kind of humbling yourself and bringing yourself to this mentally stable level where, you have to realize that it's impractical to not, flip out, so to speak, when faced with adversity. Those are words from his mouth. This Justin Vea guy is, how do you react when adversity strikes? Because it's going to. It's not like you can do some magical thing that is going to magically make you not worry or stress or have bad days anymore. That just doesn't exist. It's the same thing like trying to think that the magic pill exists for you to stay skinny, lose weight, and be happy. No, you're going to be faced with certain challenges, cravings, and life that's going to happen to you. That's just the way things work. That kind of pendulum swinging of the positive and negative, or the wheel that goes around of the positive and negative. Right? Sometimes you're on top, sometimes you're in a low spot. But he got into tying this all together with the strength of your mind, and he used an awesome example. He said, what elevator would you rather ride in on a regular basis? The elevator that has one big cable, or an elevator that has smaller cables but there's 10 of them? And the dominating answer was, of course, the 10 cables. And when the response after they answered that question was, well, then why would you pick that one? 10 smaller cables over one thick cable. And their response was overwhelmingly, the response was, if one cable was to snap or to fail, there's 9 others to back it up. And so that's an excellent analogy on, even if something bad happens, you have these different techniques that he shares on how to help keep the mind strong while still accepting and acknowledging the fact that yes, you're going to flip out, but it's your reaction to your body's natural instinct to flip out, how you respond to that. Generally, not just in these moments, but kind of working out your brain is really what it is. The first thing is to breathe deeply, to focus in on just counting your breaths. And it's interesting because my same friend who sent me the link to this podcast was the same one that during our hike that you can check out, and I'll try to remember to put the link down below. The hike that we did together a little over a month ago, we would try and say, okay, let's see if we can make it to 100 breath counts without losing track or getting distracted. And we got up. I think we both got into like over 1,000. Like on day 3, we were able to keep our focus on our breath for about 1,000 breaths, or at least keep count. And it's just and what this is doing is it's working out your brain. You think, oh my gosh, why would you do that? That just seems so monotonous and just a waste of time. But it's the smallest things that make the biggest difference when you do them over and over and over again. I think there's a quote from Bruce Lee that says, I don't fear the man who has practiced 100 kicks. I fear the man that has practiced one kick 100 times over. And it goes to that thing. It's the repetition, the small things that count, the smaller cables, but many of them, right? The one kick, but done over and over and over again to become a master at something. There's also this principle that you do things for 10,000 hours, you become a master at it, or you become proficient at it. I'm not even going to use the name guru because things change. We progress progress, we learn new stuff, and so is it's that ability to continue to evolve and grow. Because we're always growing, or we're always changing, and we can choose to either, decay, or you can if you decide to continue to grow. The way to do that is to continue to move forward. So with that being said, tying in kind of the philosophy that I try to maintain, and that is to keep going even in adversity. And I'll be the first one to admit that I have a lot of times where I don't do anything totally outrageous, but I get really pissed off and kind of throw a fit in my own way, whether it's cursing or just yelling or stomping around. That's my way. It's not violent in any way. It's just intense. Everything gets intensified. It's all intense, right? That's kind of my way of dealing with it. That is my version of flipping out. And so being able to take what this guy Justin Vea has taught us in this taught me, explained to the podcast, whoever was listening, including myself, on how to not so much manage to get rid of, but manage to maintain a certain amount of control when you have these moments of adversity, when you're going to have these flip out moments, we'll call it. And how do you do that? You strengthen your brain and take a few moments and breathe deeply. I talk a lot in my Workout Wednesday videos about being able to breathe in through your nose so that the air goes deep into your belly, or a muscle that you're stretching during a mobility session or even yoga, and then holding it for a moment, breathing out, either out through your nose, which is preferable, and especially in yoga and exercise, or out through your mouth. There's definitely times, especially during allergy season, where it's probably a better idea that you blow your air out through your mouth and out your nose, because it could be a big mess, right? So, making adjustments when needed. And during the video, Justin also talked a lot about the kind of the message, or like the ability, the strength to kind of like look at yourself in the mirror and just say, totally own up to everything that happens that you do. Don't blame it on anything else. Don't, it is, if something happens and you're at fault, like, just take ownership of it. Just lay it all out there. It is what it is. And make it a motivation to learn from it and to not make that same mistake next time. Just do it and do everything that you can to do that. And that's part of that confidence. Have enough confidence to know that you are going to take the necessary steps. Learn from the mistakes, the criticism, whatever it is. Take it and keep going. Continue to grow, keep growing from that experience, from that adversity, from that flip out. How can I better manage my flip out next time? Because you can't say, I'm not going to flip out again. No, that's unreasonable. You have to realize that, yes, you are going to flip out. It's how you deal with it is going to make the biggest difference in your mental, emotional, and maybe even your spiritual strength, but definitely your mental and emotional strength. Another thing that he mentions, there was an interview with this guy, and he was, listing off all of the qualities that he wanted his dream girl to have. And there was this response by someone else listening that answered, who do you think you are to want all of this? Why do you think you deserve that? And they finished up with, like attracts like. If you want that, then you have to become that yourself. And then that will be attractive. I think that is profound. And so I wanted to mention that. So the first thing that Justin mentions in this podcast on how to improve upon your mental capacity to be strong and endure in times of adversity is, first of all, your thoughts as clouds floating by in the sky, and you can choose which cloud or which thought to hang on to or to let go of and let it pass by. The second thing is stop listening to yourself and start talking to yourself. This is kind of a fine line that I am kind of digesting right now as I just listen to this information, and that is, to trust your gut. You have to listen to yourself, but at the same time, you had this opposing idea that Justin recommends to start talking to yourself. And I think this is where that kind of intertwining of the secret, right? I talk a lot about the manifestation and, your thoughts become your reality. It's kind of that thing, how you start talking the way that you want to be instead of talking about, oh, I don't want this to happen, or, I need to do this. No, you talk like, I am doing this. This is happening right now. I've started. And the last thing that he mentions on how to improve your mental strength and resiliency is to be aware. And I think that's the biggest one. It's just be aware of your surroundings. Well, I hope that you enjoyed this little talk. Again, I will put all recommended things down in the description. Until next time, keep going and keep growing, physically, mentally, and emotionally stronger. Peace.